The following program has been sponsored by Mommie Talk.
We're real, relatable, and right on time. Mommie Talk, the champions of parenting. Dr. Pert, Miss Lisa, and Miss April. Real, relatable, and right on time. Mommie Talk provides information for all facets of parenting. Listen and engage as the champions of parenting bring their experience and expertise to the world of parenthood. Our listeners can expect to receive encouragement and resources that can help them with positive parental engagement. Come talk to us. Good evening, champion parents. Welcome to Mommie Talk. Thank you for joining us this evening. What a blessing it is to have your heart and your ears at this time. First of all, I want to ask my co-host, what's up? How y'all doing today?
Hey, good evening.
It feels so good for the three of us to be back in the building together.
We are back together today.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot I wasn't here last week. We weren't here last week.
Yeah, and Miss April and her sons held it down.
It was awesome. It was a good experience. It was funny, just discussing the different, how they view parent children relationships. So it was interesting, and definitely look forward to hearing that on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yes, at www.mommie.talk. I'm sorry, talk. MOMMIE talk.com or YouTube or Facebook or Twitter.
Or Instagram.
Whoop, whoop. Okay.
But on those, it's Mommie Talk Network, though, right?
Yeah, Mommie Talk Network.
Yes. And callers, if you're listening, give us a call at 313-837-1340. All right, so moving along, we as Mommie Talk, we provide information and resources to inspire positive parental engagement. We want all parents, mothers and fathers, to recognize that there is a champion parent in us all.
That's
Can I say that again? There's a champion parent in us all.
Yes, because we are developing, we are getting better, and we all want to improve at being parents overall.
Yes. That is the main thing, that we all want to improve. So I'm so excited today. Are you guys excited?
I'm very excited.
I'm excited because we have a guest in the building, my brother from another, Mr. Roy Steed.
From another what?
From another mother.
Okay.
From another mother. Hey. Yeah, so we have Roy Steed in the building. He is a really good guy. He's very key to the community, in my opinion. We are always talking about the village. The village is important, people. We have to communicate. We have to network. We have to use our resources. We have to share information. We have to share resources. And so, Mr. Steed, first of all, hey, what's up?
Hey, how you doing? How's everyone doing?
We are good.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
So we're so excited to have you here with us today. Can you share a little something about yourself that you wouldn't mind the listeners learning?
No, not at all. Again, thanks for having me on your show. I know we worked hard to get me here.
Yes, we did. Hello.
I've been
4 years, y'all.
4 years, yes.
But my name is Roy Steed. I was born and raised in the D. I graduated from Detroit Redford High.
Okay.
Shout out to my fellow Huskies out there.
Yeah,
Yes,
Henry
woo-woo.
Ford, well, not saying anything cut you off, but Henry Ford, we just had our alumni weekend this weekend.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I heard it's pretty
Detroit
live.
Public Schools, people.
Well, I'm saying that because I'm just trying to throw a shot because you were our rivals.
Always.
Okay, well, if y'all gonna throw in shots, Cody High School, Cody Comments, y'all.
Where's that at?
Oh, don't play.
I'm just joking.
Exit 9, Joy
I'm
Road.
just joking.
Coming off the
But I've been working in education for about 18 years. Last year was my first year in Detroit Public School Community District, where I served as the school culture facilitator. I've been working closely with our dean and with students, with the student behavior, and working in the with the classroom environment.
Nice. So we have another educator in the building, a blessing, okay?
Definitely.
Yeah, so we're talking about the dynamics of blended families.
They can be a blessing and should be treated as such, but we also know if signals get crossed, y'all know those messages can get twisted. We have plenty of rocky blended family, co-parenting relationships, but we also have some really good ones. And we want to just highlight those efforts of better working co-parenting, blended families, step families, and it's a blessing just to be a part of it. We know that the procreation families, and I think that April had touched on some things a couple of weeks ago. If you want to share like the different types of blended families, you want to share those today? Maybe not. Okay, y'all, April looking at me crazy.
Look, I got to be prepared for stuff like that.
April looking at me crazy. So, Dr. Pert, so first of all, can we just kind of get into what blended families are?
Well, that's why we have Roy Steed here, and he's the expert in this. So we're going to make it more conversational with him. And
Yes.
that is a term that I think people need to become familiar with, because you see it across the nation, blended families. And when I first heard the term, I was not aware of what a blended family was. But then somebody broke it down for me. But you know what? Roy Steed is in the building today. So
Our
I want
expert.
you right.
Yeah.
Well, really, he's
That's
a
a good
champion.
transition.
He's a
That's a good
champion
transition.
parent. He's a champion parent, right?
I would
He's a
like to
champion
think
parent.
that.
Yeah, he's a
Okay.
champion parent.
So let our listeners out there know, what is a blended family?
Well, in my opinion, a blended family is just a family consisting of a couple and their children from a previous marriage or previous relationships.
So basically you're saying, so if I'm a parent and I'm not with my children's biological father,
Yes.
and I'm dating somebody else, or I'm married to somebody else, and that's a blended family?
If you're living under one roof, I would like to call that a blended family.
Okay, understood. Okay. So what are the dynamics of a blended family? Can you break that down for us? Because there's different types.
I think blended families, it comes in all shapes and forms and fashions.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can have different ethnicities, different races. That can be a blended family. You can have, let's say for myself, growing up, I had cousins that lived with us.
Yeah.
And so I kind of looked at that as a blended family at one point. Or we can even speak about myself. Growing up, speaking with, I had godparents who I spent a lot of time with, and they accepted me as their son. And so I look at that as a blended family as well.
Yeah. And anything just coming from the norm is not the norm. Well, I don't want to say the norm, but that's not coming from a procreation family in which
The traditional family.
the traditional procreation family where you have two people who are together who have children together.
Right.
So anything outside of that would be considered a blended family.
Yeah, blended families are quite common now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're kind of common.
Yeah, they're very common.
Yeah. Why do you think that is the case, though? Why do you think blended families are the case?
Relationships don't last sometimes,
Absolutely.
and you move on.
People transition, yeah.
Yeah.
Some people, it's not necessarily you can move on, but tragedies happen
Yeah,
where
that as
people,
well.
pass away and, leave the earth, and then the other party has to move on. So it's
Yes.
different factors why there is an abundance of blended families. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we want to give a shout out to all the blended families out there.
Whoop, whoop. Blended families, co-parents, step-parents,
So,
auntie parents, uncle parents, cousin parents, because again, families they're not just the mother and father.
Right.
They're cousins, uncles,
Yeah.
neighbors, godparents,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mr. Steve, so why are people apprehensive about blended families?
Well, in my opinion, and I only can base this off my experience and what I've seen, you don't know how someone is going to treat your child. I think that is one of the biggest things that you experience within the blended family. You're not going to treat my child the way I want my child to be treated at times, and I think that is one of the biggest barriers.
Yeah, that's real
Mm-hmm.
because,
Trust is a trip,
yeah.
if I could say that. Trust is a trip.
It really is because it's like you really don't know what you're getting into. And some people are blessed to have met that individual who takes on that role and treat their child as if it was their own child and develop good, healthy relationships and help raise that child. You understand what I'm saying? But then you have some people who get in blended families and the relationship is just not good for whatever reason. It could be because the children and the other significant other doesn't get along.
You will definitely see that. That's common to see where you have one person, two people not getting along. Children are always going to pick up on that. They pick up on every little thing that happens, and that puts a wedge in relationships a lot.
It does, and you have to be careful because kids will play parents against each other. Amen. Amen. Well, kids play the mother against the father and the father against the mother.
Right, because they just try to they don't understand.
Well, Daddy
yet.
said I can
Yeah.
do this.
Yep, and they, want what's best for them.
Yes.
At that moment. So, yeah, they will pity or, pry people against each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah, family life is full of challenges. On top of all the normal challenges, there are extra challenges for step families or blended families. That is one of the reasons that the divorce rate for a remarried couple is higher than the first-time marriages. Step families and blended families can be extra and ineffective, but the extra challenges require extra effort and extra wisdom to make the family strong. So I have a question for Mr. Steed. What factors contribute to lack of trust in a blended family?
In my opinion, and again, I don't look at myself as an expert to any of this. I just base all my answers and from what I've experienced, what I've seen growing up, what I've seen in the school system. I think what the distrust comes in is when there's a lack of communication. Communication is just so key.
It definitely is.
And nowadays, we just don't communicate.
Right.
We don't communicate at all. We don't even give ourselves a chance to get to know someone before we're bringing them into our home, saying, hey, this is my son, this is my daughter. And so now with the children, they're looking at, and they're saying, well, who is this person?
Yeah.
Why is this person in my house? And what are they going to do?
Yes, because you might be ready to move on, but your kids may not. And then in a lot of situations, as you said, people have already accepted defeat before they even try. And it is, again, trust is a trip. Or distrust is a trip. Because if I distrust you, then I have my defense mechanisms up. And I fear someone mistreating my kids.
Right.
And, you hope that people wouldn't do that. You know how you are with another person's child, but you don't know how somebody else would be with your kid.
Also, if I may interject in that, also, we don't know what children see growing up.
Yes.
They may have experienced their mother and father being verbally abused, physically abused, and now they're bringing someone else into the home.
Yeah.
And now they're thinking, okay, is this person going to be like
gonna
that
do the same
towards my
thing.
mother? Or is my father going to be like this towards this woman? So now that distrust just keeps coming out.
Keep coming. Yep, it's recycling. So do you feel like step parents can see children as their own, and will there always be like a difference between their children and the stepchildren, or?
I absolutely feel that that step parents feel they can look at their stepchildren as their own children. Again, I have a stepmother. She's always treated me like her own. My godparents always treated me like their own. I've taken family pictures with my godparents. Went on trips with them. They have always said, "This is my son. This is my son Roy." And it's like, oh, and so their family has embraced me, even with my stepmother to this day. I still call her my stepmother. She's not actually my stepmother anymore, but I still call her my stepmother. And we talk every single month.
Okay.
And it's been a couple years that her and my father has divorced, but I don't even really look. I label her as my stepmother, but I don't even look at her as a stepmother. I look at her as a mother, And so she's always treated me like one of her own, scolded me like I was one of her own, beat me upside the head like I was one of her own. So,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, because it required patience, initially, it requires patience because, it's sometimes when you're developing a relationship, people think it's supposed to glue automatically, but it do require patience and you work with each other. And like you said, communicate. Yeah. So,
And you know what? And I want to add, because I have to give a shout out to my Tiana and my Bianca, which are my children's older sisters. And since the day that they have come into my lives, I have always looked at them like my daughters. They are my daughters. They're my daughters from another. Wait, am I? They're my daughters from another. But anyway, they're still my babies. And, we're all connected. So. Yeah,
I do feel like blended families can work because my parents got a divorce when I was in the 6th grade, and my dad moved on. And I remember I was so mean to his wife in the beginning. And when I think about it, I really had no reason to be mean to her. I should have given her a chance in the beginning because I don't feel like adults should put children in their mix. So I just felt like, looking at the scenario, and I remember I apologized to her and told her I was sorry because I was a child and it was like I treated her mean. But I think at the end of the day, you can't really force a relationship.
Yeah, it has
The
to be
one thing,
natural.
like Miss April said, you have to have patience. And I think you have to let that other person that's coming in your child's life be what the child allows them to be. Don't try to force a relationship.
and if I can say, Dr. Pert, when I met your stepmom, because I never met your mom before, you are a splitting image of your stepmom. No offense to your mom, but I was like, oh, I thought that was her mama.
That's
Yeah, you are. She
that's
looked
what
exactly
everybody
like
says.
her. Yeah.
And it's funny because you actually look like your mom and your stepmother.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I thought your stepmother, when I first met her, I thought she was your aunt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
But let me
Just
tell-
because I already knew who her mom was.
Yeah.
Let me touch on that a little bit, Dr.
And
Pert.
but I just want to say both of them are phenomenal women. They're both champion parents.
Yes.
I need the world to know that.
Let me touch on that a little bit, Dr. Pert. What I've noticed and what I've learned over the years, and even including myself, and again, I'm always say something about myself because I've experienced this. Children tend to be mean when someone else comes in. They don't want to give them a chance, and you stated that you didn't really give her a chance. But
Because I think they're used to the normal, and when you interrupt their routine, it's hard for them to adjust. So they just naturally mean.
absolutely. And then who wants their parents to be separated? I mean,
Right.
when my dad chose to move on, that was hard. That was hard. I didn't want anyone coming in. I didn't want my mother bringing in another man in our home. I thought I was the man of the house. I'm 12 years old, and I'm thinking I'm the man now. We don't need anyone in here. So, I mean, I think that's common. And then once you develop that relationship, then it was all good with you two.
Yes, absolutely.
And let me add to that. Now, that's funny because I'm coming from a different side of the coin because my mother and father has been separated since I was 3. So when I would meet kids and their families were going through a divorce, I'm like, and they would be all distraught. I'm like, what's wrong with them? Like, it's normal. Give it the program, But now, I definitely understand because even when I separated from my kid's father, they were, Dion, my son was too young to really understand what was going on, but my daughters were devastated. The 2 middle daughters were devastated.
Yeah, it can be quite of an adjustment. Like I said, children just like that routine. They like the normal. But when you
Yes.
interrupt that, it's hard for them to adjust.
Yeah.
Yeah, the adjustment time is.
And then it has to be taken, again, it has to be, adults have to be careful how they decide to proceed because, again, the child you may be ready, but the child may not be ready. So you want to do things to make them feel like their voice matters, like their opinion matters, like their feelings matter, and you discuss it with them,
Yeah.
and the person, the spouse or potential should be, I think, cognizant and understanding of that, care, the nurture.
I agree. I think that as a champion parent, you definitely have to take your children's feelings into consideration.
Yes.
And as a parent, yes, we all want help. We all want companionship from somebody else. But at the end of the day, when you have children, your children come first. So it's very important for you to make a wise decision on who you're bringing home to your child. And when you bring them home, you don't have to introduce them like, oh, this is my mate. You can say, this is my friend. And you can let a relationship start from there. And then I think you need to pay attention to certain key factors as to how they are connecting with one another. And then sometimes people will let you know, like, oh, yeah, they'll gel well together, or that something is odd about that individual. Like, why did they do that?
Is that, like, I want to go back to the point you made. Is that why, like, back in the day, they used to call Uncle Frank Uncle?
That's what they said that.
Right, that was really the stepdad or the potential, but it was Uncle Jerry. Like, okay, how many uncles do I have?
You know, I want to jump in again with what Dr. Pert said. I think before we even bring someone to our home, what parents need to do is they need to have outings. Have an outing with your child. Introduce them then at the outing. Now
Like at a
everyone is having
park,
fun.
restaurant.
Then
Yeah.
you can kind of see where it's going somewhere before you actually take them home. A lot
And
of
you
us,
can meet them by chance somewhere. Like, you know, they don't have to, the kids, okay, I'm just saying stuff in front of my kids. But anyway, they don't have to know that they're meeting for certain reasons. They can just, you know, okay, I will be here at this time. Maybe you guys can just kind of walk past and say hello.
Right. So I do have a letter somebody wrote in, and they asked us a question. It's based on the premise of that. So we had a listener or a follower. This is the question they posed. So I'm in a new relationship, 3 months, and it seems to be moving in a really good directions. We are ready to bring my children in and allow them to interact in our relationship. My children are already familiar with him at church, and have actually interacted with him quite nicely. But again, that's in church, and they aren't aware of us dating. I'm a bit apprehensive because the fact that my children, 2 boys and 1 girl, are very close to their dad. My children have discussed previously they don't want another man too close to me. How can I make this transition smooth? I want to live my life. So how can we respond to that parent?
Oh, okay. Let me jump in on that one. So I think it's great that that her children have a relationship with their father. Relationships with mothers and fathers is always key.
Yes.
You have to have that relationship. So many of our children don't have a relationship with their parents, with their father after a divorce or when something doesn't go well. I think with that young lady, what she needs to do is just ease into it. Ease into it. If I recall, you saying that they know him from church and they have interacted. Just keep that interaction going. Don't force anything on them.
Yes, and be patient.
Yeah, and I think that she can sit down and have a candid conversation with her children and explain that whoever she's going to date or be with in the future is not a replacement
Yeah.
for her of their father. It's just that, you know, realistically everybody needs some type of companion, and I think having those real conversations with your children allows them to gradually accept that, yeah, you know what, mom does need somebody else, because when we get older we'll have a mate, so we can't be selfish.
Absolutely. Hi, caller. Welcome to Mommy Talk. Hey, caller. Welcome to Mommy Talk. Hey, caller. Hey, caller. Okay. Okay, so, yes.
Yeah, but yeah, so I just think that that's important, just to always have open conversation with your children, and just reinforce that whoever you're dating or the new person is not a replacement of the father or the mother.
I've actually shared with some people before, instead of just telling them it's a replacement, or what you're saying, Dr. Pert, is not a replacement. Just tell them, hey, now we have the best of both worlds.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Roy Steed is in the building.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
It's not a replacement, but an extension,
Yeah.
probably.
Definitely an extension.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
I-
more resources for you.
Of course.
Yes.
I mean, I go to my mom, my biological mother for things, but I also go to my stepmother for a lot of things as well. And,
Yeah.
and it's not that I'm trying to replace my mom, because she's my mom.
Yeah.
You know, she's the one who gave me life, right?
Yes.
But then I have my stepmother who may know some things that my mom is not familiar with.
Yeah.
And so I go to both of them. I pick both their brains at times just to see what they're both saying. And actually, a lot of times they're both saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
but in
that's
different
the best
ways.
of both
Yeah.
worlds.
The best of both worlds.
Like Miss Lisa said, it takes a village.
It takes a village. It's a bonus. Bonus family. It's so many terms. Bonus family, blended family,
Extended family.
extended family. Yes. Okay, so I wanted to give a quick shout out to the grand opening conference fundraiser with live band Compressor and Ashley Carter, national speakers, free food, comedy, spoken word, silent auction, large prizes, and I believe that this is a fundraiser for lupus. We know lupus is a very stressful and serious condition, and in many cases it can be,
Fatal.
terminal, fatal. So sounds like a good program. I was actually blessed to meet evangelist Wanda Shelby on the plane today. Hey.
Okay. Yeah.
Made my flight go by very quickly, and she was a
Awesome.
blessing. So Miss Shelby, you said you were going to try to listen. If you're listening, I appreciate you, and we will definitely try to make this event.
Yeah, September the 14th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can register at www.ulove.org.
Yes.
Yes, the letter U,
Yes.
love.org. That's right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So.
Yeah.
Amen.
Okay, so Roy Steed, can you talk to us a little bit about what will support the best efforts of a blended family?
What will support the best efforts? That's tough for me to say, but I'm always going to say it's communication. It's just a lack of communication when it comes to the families. It's just a lack of communication when it comes just in general. We don't like to communicate anymore.
And respect. Throw some respect in there. Communicate. Yeah, respect each other enough to communicate.
And I think one of the things
piece.
that parents have to do is set boundaries so that children know, like, you're not going to play mother, father, stepfather, or stepmother against one another. You're just not going to do it. And I think communication is the key, because I know in my household, we practice, oh, no, what did your father say? Okay, then that's what we're going to roll with. Well, what did your mom say? And if we see the children getting out of line, we'll say, oh, no, you don't do that to your father. Oh, no, you don't do that to your mother. So I think setting boundaries and being aligned.
Absolutely. I also think when parents are no longer together, their communication breaks down. So there's always some type of, I don't want to call it beef, but rift between the parents. And even with me, when my son comes in, my son lives out of state. One of the rules for him was, hey, this is who I'm with. You still have to follow our rules in our home.
Absolutely.
And if you don't follow those rules, there's going to be consequences. But his mother had to trust me, just like I had to trust her. If she was in a relationship, hey, I'm not going to bring anyone in our home that's going to abuse our son or mistreat our son. So
And that's one of the things when parents, when they do split, they have to say, you know what, yes, the relationship went sour between us. However, we're going to make decisions based on what's best for our children. You have to remove your feelings.
That's right.
Would you guys agree?
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard. It really is hard. But you have to do that. And that's one of the things of being a champion parent, making decisions based on what's best for your children.
That's right.
Yeah.
Come and go.
So I am really excited about this Saturday, on the August 24th. We have a book bag giveaway.
Next Saturday.
All supplies are free. We're giving away over 800 book bags, free food.
Yes.
Come out and talk to the champions of parenting as we give your children free book bags and supplies.
What about the-
Ladies, isn't that exciting?
That's
Very exciting.
Yes.
Oh, you said ladies.
Ladies.
Wait a minute, let me ask the champion parent that is in the room. Doesn't that sound
That's
exciting?
very exciting. Can I get one of those backpacks, those book bags?
Yes, you
Yes.
can.
We should
Yes,
have,
you
we should have something
can.
for the educators out here.
Okay.
Thank you for tuning in today. Tune in next week for more Mommy Talk. And remember, you are a champion at parenting.
Yes, thank you, Roy Steed.
Thank you, Roy, for coming. We
Yes,
appreciate
Roy
you.
Steed. Thank
Pleasure.
you.
Thank you for listening to Mommy Talk, the champions of parenting. And remember, you too can be a champion of parenting. Continue to support and love your children. For additional information, you can contact us at info@mommytalk.com or visit our website at www.mommytalk.com. We can also be found via social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Mommy Talk Network. Please listen to us every Monday at 7:30 p.m. on WCHB Detroit's Gospel Station.
Come talk to us.